I died choking on my own blood. The metallic tang flooding my mouth as the pills I'd swallowed in desperation finally kicked in. Not from some glamorous overdose in a penthouse suite, but in the cramped bathroom of my rundown apartment in suburban Chicago. The kind of place where the walls whispered regrets and the mirror cracked under the weight of betrayal. And just like that, blackness. Then a jolt, like lightning cracking through my veins. I was back, gasping for air, not in that filthy tile hell, but in my old bedroom at my parents' house. 3 years earlier, the alarm clock blinking 7 a.m. on the day of the family reunion that would unravel everything. My name is Selena Harper, and I'd been played for fool by the very blood I shared. The Harpers, my Uncle Ray, his golden boy son Derek, my cousin, the one they'd all fawn over like he hung the moon. And Aunt Lydia, with her saccharine smiles hiding venomous greed, hadn't just stolen my inheritance, they'd buried me alive in debt and despair, all while toasting to their family success. But this time, this rebirth wasn't a gift from some cosmic joke. It was a loaded gun, and I was done playing the victim. The first thing I did when I sat up in that twin bed, sheets tangled around me like the noose of my past life, was vomit into the wastebasket by the nightstand. Not from sickness, God. No, but from the flood of memories crashing in like a Chicago winter gale. I remembered the reunion, that godforsaken barbecue in Uncle Ray's sprawling backyard in Naperville. The one with the infinity pool and the grill smoking ribs that tasted like ash in my mouth. Derek, fresh off his big promotion at the firm, my firm, the one I'd built from scratch with Grandma's life savings, strutting around like a peacock, arms slung over his fiancée's shoulders, bragging about closing million-dollar deals. Selena, babe, you should come work for me sometime, he'd said with that patronizing wink, as if I hadn't been the one teaching him how to tie a Windsor knot back in high school. The family ate up. Aunt Lydia cooing about how Derek was carrying on the Harper legacy, Uncle Ray slapping backs and passing out craft beers from his microbrewery, funded, of course, by the money they'd siphoned from my accounts. My parents, God rest their passive souls, just nodded along, too spineless to question why their daughter was scraping by on ramen while her cousin bought a Tesla. I'd smiled through it all. The good little niece. Because that's what Harpers do. We swallow the lies with our potato salad and pretend the bitterness is just the vinegar. But that night, after the fireworks popped like false promises over the lake, I'd driven home alone, the radio droning some country ballad about lost love that hit too close to home. That's when the emails started pinging, anonymous tips from a whistleblower I'd never met, piecing together the puzzle of how my startup, Harper Innovations, had been gutted from the inside. Uncle Ray, the trusted advisor on the board, had forged my signature on loans that funneled cash straight to his failing ventures. Derek, the rising star, had poached my clients with insider info, all while Aunt Lydia whispered poison in the ears of investors, painting me as unstable, unreliable. The final blow? They'd pinned a fabricated embezzlement scandal on me, the kind that gets you blacklisted from every tech hub in the Midwest. By morning, my bank accounts were frozen, my name dragged through LinkedIn like roadkill. Creditors called nonstop, and the pills, well, they seemed like the only exit from a life where family wasn't blood, but a blade. Now, here I was, 25 again, with the body of a woman who'd just run her first 5K and the mind of one who'd danced with death. The date on my phone confirmed it, July 4th, 2022. The reunion was in 6 hours. This time, I wouldn't be the punchline. I'd be the goddamn mic drop. I stumbled to the mirror, splashing cold water on my face, water that didn't taste like regret yet. My reflection stared back, dark hair pulled into a messy ponytail, green eyes sharp as shattered glass. The faint scar on my chin from that biking accident with Derek when we were kids. Back then, he'd pushed me off the curb for fun, and I'd laughed it off. Lesson 1 in Harper family dynamics: forgive, forget, get fucked over. Not anymore. First order of business: evidence. In my past life, I'd deleted files out of paranoia.
But now?
I had the gift of foresight. I grabbed my laptop, the same beat-up Dell that would later hold the smoking gun, and logged into the cloud backups I'd foolishly ignored before. There they were, the original contracts. The email chains with timestamps proving Derek's client raids. The bank statements showing transfers to Ray's charity that was really just a slush fund for Lydia's Botox and Birkins. But the real gem? The audio recording from a board meeting I'd attended via Zoom, where Ray's voice slurred. "Selena's too soft for this game. We'll ease her out. Make it look like she's the one who bit off more than she could chew." My hands shook as I downloaded it all to an encrypted USB drive. I wasn't just going to whisper this in some lawyer's ear, no. This reunion would be my stage. A public execution of their facade. But revenge isn't clean, especially when it's laced with the kind of decisions that make you question if you're the monster now. Do I leak it anonymously first, let the scandal simmer, or go nuclear? Right there amid the aunt's jello molds and uncle's bad dad jokes? The thought twisted in my gut like bad barbecue sauce. Family or not, these people had watched me drown and handed me the anchor. By noon, I was dressed for war. Black jeans that hugged like armor. A simple white blouse that screamed, "Trust me," while hiding the storm inside. And red lipstick sharp enough to draw blood, metaphorically. Of course. Mom knocked on my door, her voice muffled through the wood. "Selena, honey, you coming to the reunion?" Uncle Ray's making his famous ribs. Famous for being bought with stolen dreams. I thought, but I called back. Wouldn't miss it. She didn't catch the edge in my tone. She never did. Dad was already in the garage, tinkering with his old Ford like it could fix the cracks in our lineage. As I grabbed my keys, I slipped the USB into my pocket. It weighed like a grenade. The drive to Naperville was a blur of expressway traffic and podcasts on corporate espionage, ironic homework for a girl who'd lived it. Billboards for luxury condos mocked me. "Live the dream you deserve." Yeah.
Right.
Whose dream? By the time I pulled into Ray's cul-de-sac, the driveway was a zoo of minivans and SUVs. American flags flapping lazily in the breeze like they gave a damn about freedom when greed chained us all. I parked at the curb, heart pounding a rhythm that echoed the fireworks yet to come. Kids, cousin spawn, chased each other across the lawn, oblivious to the rot beneath the sod. Aunt Lydia spotted me first, waving from the patio with that fake pearl necklace glinting like a noose. "Selena, over here. Darling, we've missed you." "Miss my money." More like. I plastered on a smile and wove through the crowd, air-kissing cheeks that smelled of Chanel and hypocrisy. Uncle Ray manned the grill, apron smeared with sauce, bellowing laughs at some story Derek was telling. There he was, my cousin, all 6'2" of Ivy League polish, khakis pressed to perfection, polo shirt straining over gym rat pecs. That fiancée, Brittany, wasn't it? Clinging to his arm like a status symbol.
Sell.
"Long time," Derek boomed, pulling me into a bro hug that lingered too long, his cologne choking me like the lies it masked. "Heard you're still grinding away at that little app thing. When you gonna join the big leagues?" The family chuckled, a chorus of enablers. Grandma's old rocker creaked on the porch. Empty now, hurled the spark that ignited this whole inferno. I'd inherited the bulk of it, funneled into Harper Innovations as my ticket out of waitressing purgatory. But Ray had contested it, whispering about my instability, and poof, most went to family trusts that mysteriously benefited everyone but me. I bit my tongue, tasting the future's bile. Soon.
Derek.
Real soon. The words hung heavy, but they didn't notice. Why would they? I was still the quiet one, the fixer-upper niece. As the afternoon dragged, the bragging ramped up. Plates piled high with coleslaw and corn on the cob, beers sweating in koozies emblazoned with Derek's frat crest. Uncle Ray launched into it over dessert, apple pie a la mode. Because nothing says patriotism like diabetes on a plate. You know, folks, Derek here's closing in on partner at the firm. That last deal? 7 figures. Easy. Harper blood runs thick with winners. Aunt Lydia beamed, fanning herself with a paper plate. And Brittany's expecting a little Harper on the way. Selena, you should settle down. Get some stability. Stability. The word was a slap. I watched Derek preen, accepting slaps on the back. Toasts to his hard work. Hard work. He'd been handed the keys to my kingdom while I mopped floors to pay rent. My parents sat silent, Mom picking at her napkin, Dad lost in his beer. The injustice burned hotter than the summer sun dipping low. Then, the hook, a cousin's kid asked innocently, "Uncle Derek, how'd you get so rich?" The table went quiet, expectant. This was my window, the moment they expected fawning, not fire. I stood, chair scraping like nails on a chalkboard. All eyes on me. The wallflower turned wildfire. "Actually," I said, voice steady as the Mississippi, "I can answer that." Derek's smile faltered. Just a twitch. Ray paused mid-bite. "Selena? What's up?" I pulled the USB from my pocket, holding it aloft like Lady Liberty's torch. This is the truth about Derek's success. And yours, Uncle Ray. The deals, the promotions, the microbrewery that saved the family, all built on my back. On Grandma's money. On lies that buried me. Murmurs rippled. Lydia's fan stopped. "What on earth?" "Embezzlement." I cut in, the words slicing clean. "Forged signatures." "Client poaching." I have emails, recordings, bank trails. "You didn't just take my company, you framed me for it. And at the last reunion, you bragged while I drove home to swallow pills because of what you'd done."
Gasps.
Mom's hand flew to her mouth. Dad's beer slipped, foaming across the tablecloth. Derek shot up, face flushing tomato red. "Selena, you're drunk. Or crazy. This is family." "Family?" I laughed, bitter as black coffee. "Family doesn't gaslight you into suicide." The patio erupted. Aunts herded kids inside. Uncles muttered about drama queens. Ray lunged for the USB, but I yanked it back. Phone already in hand. One tap. And this goes viral. TikTok. Twitter. The whole Midwest blogosphere. Harper Ayers' empire crumbles. Cousin steals sister's startup. Family covers it up. Imagine the headlines. Brittany clutched Derek's arm, whispering frantic. Lydia wailed. "This is a misunderstanding." But I saw it, the crack in their armor, the fear in Ray's eyes that mirrored the desperation I'd felt in that bathroom. In the chaos, a decision loomed, controversial as hell. Mercy or massacre. I could walk away, let lawyers feast, preserve some shred of family for mom and dad's sake. Or I could drop the bomb now. Consequences be damned, ruin reputations,
Tank stocks.
watch their world burn like mine had. My finger hovered over send. The air thickened, fireworks cracking distant in the sky, mocking the powder keg beneath us. The silence after my words was a living thing, coiling around the patio like smoke from the dying grill. Fireflies blinked in the gathering dusk, innocent witnesses to the unraveling of the Harper dynasty. Derek's face twisted from shock to fury, that perfect jaw clenching like he was chewing glass. "You bitch," he hissed under his breath, low enough for only me to hear. "You think you can just—" "Oh, I can," I whispered back, my voice a blade wrapped in silk. "And I will, unless you confess. Right here. Right now." Confess? In my old life, I'd never dreamed of demanding that. I'd internalized the shame, let their gaslighting rewrite my reality until I believed I deserved the fall. But rebirth strips away the illusions, leaves you raw and ruthless. This wasn't just revenge, it was reclamation. And damn if it didn't feel like exhaling after years underwater. Ray stepped forward, all faux patriarch, hands raised like he was calming a spooked horse. "Selena, sweetheart, let's take this inside. Private family matter. No need for theatrics." Theatrics. As if my death hadn't been the ultimate performance of their betrayal. Mom hovered at the edge, tears streaking her mascara, whispering, "Honey,
Please.
not like this." Dad just stared at his shoes. The man who'd taught me to fish but never to fight. Their silence had enabled this circus. Now it trapped them in the front row. I shook my head, planting my feet.
No.
"Uncle, the truth doesn't hide in parlors anymore. It screams in backyards, where everyone can hear." I plugged the USB into my phone, the screen glowing like a confessional. With a swipe, the first email chain popped up, Ray's signature scrawled digitally over mine on a $500,000 loan docs, dated 6 months before the crash. Gasps turned to groans. Cousin Mia, the artsy one who'd always been neutral, peered over my shoulder. "Holy shit.
Ray.
That's fraud." Ray's bluff cracked. "It's not. I was helping." Selena was in over her head. Helping. I scrolled to the next. Derek's Slack messages to clients. Confidential. Insider scoop from Harper Innovations. "Cut me in. I'll make you rich." The room spun with whispers. Phones emerging like weapons, someone already filming. The modern scarlet letter. Lydia lunged then, manicured nails clawing for my arm. "You ungrateful little, after all we've done." Her voice cracked, revealing the hag beneath the Botox. In my mind's eye, I saw her at my funeral, hypocritical eulogy about our bright Selena, tissues dabbing dry eyes while she eyed my estate. I twisted free, the sting fueling me.
Done?
"You mean like spreading rumors I was bipolar to scare off investors? Or Derek sleeping with my assistant to get the passwords?" That last one, twist of the knife. Brittany's head snapped up, eyes narrowing on her fiancé. "What the fuck? Derek?" he stammered, sweat beading on his brow. "Baby, it's not, she's lying, but I wasn't." The evidence piled like indictments. Audio clip cued. Ray's slurred admission playing tinny for my speaker. "Selena's too soft. will ease her out. His words echoed, damning as a confession in court. The family fractured. Uncles who'd nodded along now backed away, murmuring about legal advice. Aunts clutched purses like life rafts. Kids peeked from the sliding doors, wide-eyed at the adult's implosion. And Derek? He charged me, hand raised as if to strike, the cousin who'd once shared comic books, now a cornered animal. Time slowed. In that heartbeat, the controversial choice crystallized. Fight or fold. Hitting back physically would make me the villain. Fodder for their spin. Unstable Selena attacks family. But passivity had killed me once.
No.
I sidestepped, grabbing a nearby lawn chair and shoving it between us. It toppled with a clatter, a barrier of wicker and warning. Touch me, I snarled, and it's assault on top of theft. Cops love that combo. He froze, chest heaving. Ray barked,
Derek.
stand down. But the damage was done. The video was live, pinging across group chats. The reunion's ugly underbelly going viral before the hot dogs cooled. Mom sobbed openly now, collapsing into Dad's arms. Why didn't you tell us? Selena? We could've. You wouldn't have believed me, I said softly. The first crack in my armor. Because they hadn't. In the life before. Dad's denial. Mom's raise a good man mantras. They'd been the soil for this weed. But seeing their pain now, raw and real,
Twisted something in me.
was this justice? Or just jagged shrapnel hitting innocence? The sirens wailed distant. Someone had called the cops?
No.
Just an ice cream truck down the block, mocking the melt. But the real alarm was internal. Twist incoming. As Derek slumped, defeated, I noticed his phone buzzing on the table. A text from an unknown number. Tell Selena, it's not what she thinks. Check the safe. For old times. What the hell? My thumb itched.
But I pocketed my own device.
Later. First, the takedown. Here's the deal, I announced to the stunned crowd. I walk away with my company back, full restitution, public apology, and Derek resigns. Or this hits every news outlet from here to CNN by morning. Your choice. Harper's. Legacy or landfill. Ray's face crumpled. The bluster gone. Selena.
We can fix this.
Family discount. Family's overrated, I shot back. But blood? That's forever. So choose wisely. Negotiations dragged into the night, the patio lit by string lights that flickered like faulty stars. Lawyers were called, mine. A shark from my pre-crash Rolodex, theirs. A weasel in loafers who blustered about defamation. But evidence is king. And mine was bulletproof. Derek cracked first, spilling details in a tear-streaked monologue, how Ray had pressured him. Lydia's greed the puppet master. I didn't want to
Sell.
but Dad said it'd save the brewery. Keep us all afloat. Afloat on my sinking ship. Sympathy flickered. Derek wasn't the mastermind, just the muscle, but it died quick. Enablers are as guilty as architects. By midnight, terms were sketched. Transfer of assets. A $2 million settlement wired by dawn. And a joint statement absolving me. Brittany stormed out. Engagement ring glinting like a grenade pin pulled. Lydia retreated to the wine, muttering about betrayal. And Ray? He signed with trembling hands, eyes hollow. You're Harper too? Selena. This poison. It'll eat you alive. Maybe, I said, signing my copy. but better me than you. As I drove away, the USB safe in my glove box, euphoria warred with emptiness. Victory tasted like vindication, but the cost? Fractured kin. A family photo album torched. And that text nagging, unresolved. Who knew the safe secret?
Grandma?
Or something darker? Home was quiet. Parents asleep or avoiding. I poured whiskey, neat, no chaser, and booted my laptop. The news feeds were ablaze. Harper scandal trending. Locals decrying toxic family dynasties. Offers poured in VCs sniffing blood. Headhunters promising C-suites. Rebirth's perks. But the safe. Ray's office. I'd need access. Slipping back undetected?
Risky.
Controversial. Burglary to uncover truth? The line blurred. But curiosity clawed deeper than caution. Dawn broke gray over Lake Michigan as I plotted. Phase 2. The buried secret. Whatever it was, it'd either redeem or ruin. Either way, I was all in. The safe's combination haunted me like a half-remembered dream. 6-2-4-1. Grandma's birthday flipped backward. Her little joke for turning back time. I'd overheard her whisper it once. During a game of bridge. Her arthritic fingers tapping the numbers on the tablecloth like Morse code. In my past life, it hadn't mattered. I'd been too buried in grief to rummage through family skeletons.
But now?
That text from Derek's phone burned a hole in my pocket. Tell Selena, it's not what she thinks. Check the safe. For old times. Signed G.
Grandma?
Or a ghost. I couldn't wait for daylight pleasantries. By 4 a.m., fueled by black coffee and the kind of adrenaline that makes your veins hum, I was back in Naperville. Black hoodie up against the pre-dawn chill. Ray's house loomed dark. A McMansion fortress of brick and regret. The infinity pool still as a grave. Slipping through the side gate, childhood, muscle memory. Sneaking beers as teens. I avoided the motion lights. Heart jackhammering. This was the controversial crux. Breaking in wasn't just illegal, it was a declaration. No more half measures. If caught, I'd be the thief they always painted me as. But the truth? It was my inheritance too. The back door yielded to a credit card shim, YouTube's finest hour, and I ghosted inside. The kitchen clock ticking like a bomb. Upstairs. Ray's office, mahogany desk, walls lined with framed achievements, fake as a smile. The safe squatted in the floor safe behind a rug, cold steel mocking my trembling hands. 6-2-4-1.
Click.
It swung open, exhaling dust and secrets. Inside, not cash or jewels, but a manila envelope, yellowed with age. Labeled for Selena when you're ready. Grandma's script, looping elegant as her bridge bids. My breath caught. I sank to the floor, ripping it open under the desk lamp's weak glow. Letters. Dozens. Bundled with twine. The top one. Dated 2015. Dearest Ray, the money from the sale must go to Selena. She's the spark. The innovator. Don't let your pride dim her light. Promise me. Signed, Evelyn Harper. My throat tightened. Grandma hadn't just left me the cash. She'd foreseen the wolves. Deeper, emails printed. Ray's replies. Understood.
Sis.
But the economy. Derek needs a leg up. Lies layered on lies. A paper trail of coercion. Then, the gut punch, a paternity test. Results crisp and cruel. Derek wasn't Ray's biological son. Lydia's affair. A decade old. With some venture capitalist who'd bailed. Grandma knew. Had covered it to keep the family whole.
But Ray?
He'd weaponized it. Holding the secret like a guillotine over Lydia. Over Derek. Twisting them into his greedy orbit. And me? A final note. Tucked in the envelope's flap. Selena, if you're reading this, forgive them. But don't forget. Blood isn't always thicker than ink.
Love. G.
Forgive? After they'd driven me to the brink? The twist hit like whiplash. They weren't monsters born. They'd been forged in fear. Ray's empire, a house of cards built on blackmail and borrowed time. Derek's betrayal wasn't malice, but survival, protecting a lie that wasn't even his. Tears blurred the ink, hot and unbidden. Rebirth's clarity cracked. Vengeance felt vulgar now. A blunt instrument against nuanced rot. But the reunion's fallout raged on. Morning headlines screamed Harper fraud. Cousin confesses in shocking barbecue bust-up. Derek's resignation trended. Ray's brewery boycotted. Lydia's socials a war zone of unfollows. My phone buzzed. Mom. Pleading a sit-down. Dad. Proud of you.
Kid.
Finally. Proud. The word unlocked something. I slipped the envelope into my hoodie, resealing the safe. No cops. No leaks, not yet. This secret? It was leverage, not litmus. By sunrise, I was home. Envelope spread on my kitchen table like an autopsy. Decisions cascaded, each more controversial. Expose the paternity. Shatter Derek's world further? Or use it to heal, demand therapy? Restitution with strings of accountability. The old Selena would have burned it all. Scorched earth for solace. But the reborn? She saw the cycle. Greed begetting greed. Secrets spawning sins. I called Derek first. Voice steady over the line. The safe. I know. Silence. Then a choke.
Sell.
Grandma.
Yeah. And the test.
It's okay. You're still family, Harper or not. He broke then. Sobs ragged. I didn't mean Ray made me. Said if I didn't, he'd tell everyone. Ruin Mom. Ruin me. I know. The words tasted foreign. Merciful. But it's over. Meet me at the lake. We end this. The spot was neutral ground, Lake Michigan shore, where we'd skip stones as kids, dreaming big before the dreams turned toxic. He arrived disheveled, BURNNIE's ring gone, eyes hollowed by dawn's harsh light. We walked the pier, waves lapping like confessions. I stole from you because I was scared, he admitted, voice whipped by wind. Ray's shadow. It's long.
But you?
You built something real. I envied that.
Envy.
The root of it all. I handed him the letters. Read them. Then burn them. We rebuild, together. No more lies. He nodded, tears salting the breeze. Apologize to the family? Publicly. And mean it. The press conference was 2 weeks later. Chicago's skyline a backdrop of steel resolve.
Ray.
Lydia. Derek, flanked by lawyers. Faces gaunt, faced the mics. We wronged Selena, Ray rasped, voice cracking for the first time. Fraud. Theft. Betrayal. We're making it right, full restitution. Community service. Counseling. The Harpers aren't perfect. But we're trying. Cameras flashed. Questions flew. I stood aside, anonymous in the crowd, the envelope's ashes scattered in the lake. Mom squeezed my hand. Dad nodded, a ghost of pride in his eyes. Twist resolved. No bouquet tragedy, but a fragile happy, justice tempered with grace. Harper Innovations rose from the rubble. Me at the helm. Derek as cautious ally. Ray's brewery pivoted to ethical brews. Lydia volunteered at women's shelters. Atoning in whispers. Rebirth wasn't about destruction. It was detonation for dawn. And as fireworks lit the next 4th, not over a poisoned patio but a quiet beach with real kin, I breathed free. The scars remained, Betrayal's brand, but they mapped a stronger me. Selena Harper. Reborn not to bury, but to bloom. In the end, family wasn't the blade. It was the bomb if you dared apply it.